You're listening to Video Villa Podcast, episode 29, The Amazing Spider-Man, directed by Mark Webb. So, just like we announced in the last episode, Logan is more than happy to talk to you guys about Spider-Man, specifically The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes, I mean, I'm going to ask you what you thought. We're going to wait till the end of the episode. I'm going to ask Becca what she thought of the episode.
We've learned to wait until the end for that.
Yes. But
cue The Shining and plenty of other movies we've not released.
You didn't like Cujo, did you? Either.
I didn't mind Cujo.
Oh, you didn't mind? Okay. Well, it's weird. You're like, I didn't mind, or I didn't care for it, or I feel nothing about it. It's like, well, how do you feel nothing about a movie?
You'd be surprised. The things I feel nothing about.
But yeah, like this movie, I really, really liked it when it came out. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like something in the air. Like I remember seeing it, went to theaters, and there's a lot about this movie out there that basically there's tons of videos on the internet about this movie and the trouble production and how studio execs kept on sticking their nose in businesses they don't deserve to be in when it comes to art and creating like I said, creating art. So I don't want to make a big, yes, Kitty has showed up again. The thing y'all don't know about is he is, for the audio's listeners,
he's a big boy.
Our cat has joined us again. And what you don't know is he's very large and he's old. So he doesn't jump on your lap anymore. He climbs in your lap, and it's 20 pounds with claws digging at your thighs to sit in your lap.
All right, off you go.
But yes, back to Amazing Spider-Man. It was just, there's a lot of stuff out there about it, and we're not gonna go in the weeds and that kind of stuff. I just really want to talk, maybe just
a little bit.
Girl, I'm not gonna do it. I did it. No, I remember when we first started doing the podcast, I was coming up with ideas of movies, and I had a list of movies called
the list that Logan loves.
No, not that. So I was trying to come up with different movies, and then there was a list of movies that I came up with, and I came up with a topic saying, and that's what this is a part of this series. So there'll be multiple movies like this, but this is a part one.
For everyone, this is my first time hearing this too. So
no, I told you about it, but you
did.
I talk a lot, so.
And I don't listen a lot.
So this is the first installment of, hey, I liked it. So, because
like everything.
No, but here's the thing: there's a lot of movies that I like that the mass majority don't like.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that, this is part of the series. This is part one, and there'll be more to follow. But yeah, like this movie, I love this movie. The fact that we got to see Andrew Garfield come back in No Way Home. Yes, people were excited for Tobey Maguire, but I was so excited to see Andrew Garfield because, I like Tobey Maguire, and he was a great Spider-Man for the time. Kevin Smith says a lot of funny jokes where he's like, you mean the 40-year-old Spider-Man? Because he was like in his 30s playing playing someone in their teens, which is kind of ridiculous. But this Spider-Man has always, I don't know, there's just been something about Andrew Garfield. Like, you could just tell the passion's there, and he really wanted to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It wasn't a job for him. Yes, it was a job, but he had the passion. He loved Spider-Man as a child, and, this was a dream of his come true. Just like Tom Holland was a dream of him to come true when he became Spider-Man. And that's, as everyone knows, that's the Spider-Man now. And, I do like Tom Holland, but something about Andrew Garfield, I love this Spider-Man. I can't say love enough for this movie. And, I understand there's people that have their issues with it. And I'll get into some issues once we start talking about the movie.
Now, I will say, really the only, superhero type universe, whatever, movie that I, truly enjoyed, start to finish, was the Snyder Cut for Justice League.
You really like that?
Which is rare because it's a 3-hour movie and my attention span.
It's more than that.
Yeah, I don't know how long we sat and watched it because we even did the whole live release thing or whatever on the internet.
It was
that was a nightmare.
You gotta be careful talking about the Snyder Cut on the internet. So
I don't give a shit. If there's one thing I don't give a shit, it's what people say on the internet. But I just really, truly enjoyed that. I don't know why, but it was like pretty good. It didn't feel that long. I also know people I don't think really liked the Wonder Woman 84. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it.
I remember we were excited. It was with Christmas.
Yeah, we got our little Chinese dinner.
We had our Chinese dinner, sat in front of the TV during COVID and watched Wonder Woman 1984, and I was tickled pink.
Yeah, well, of course you were. But
I liked it. It's not a great movie, but I liked it. Hey, I liked it.
It was fine with me.
Hey, I liked it.
Yeah.
Trademark.
I get it.
TM. But yeah, I mean, like this,
so that being said, I have no feelings towards Spider-Man. Your favorite.
Well, it's, Spider-Man was always big for me growing up. I mean, I watched the cartoon and I got into and that was right around the age, I don't remember if it was 6th grade or something like that when the movies came out, and they were just amazing.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man 2. Now, Spider-Man 1 is great. Spider-Man 2, though, that was the game changer. It was the perfect Peter Parker story. It got him out of being in high school and he's in college, and it's just like no matter what he does, he can't get a leg up. Yeah. And that's that is Peter Parker. That is the untold, but that is the famous story of Peter Parker. No matter what he does, the loved ones, the people he cares about dies, and he can never get a win. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I like that movie so much, because it really embodies Peter Parker. And then the fact that then you get the story of Mary Jane finding out that he is Spider-Man, and it's just a lovely scene. These films, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, I do not like the second one, but the first one, Mark Webb does an exceptional job at directing these films. I do think I like his film style, and it's Sam Raimi. Don't get me wrong, I love Sam Raimi, and I think he did a great job with the first 2 Spider-Mans. And the third one, I don't really think is his fault. I strongly agree. I strongly believe the third one's not his fault for not being as good. He did the best what he could, and I do like it for that nature. But there's a campiness to those films, and I guess it works because Spider-Man's a comic book, and we're taking these old storylines from back before our day, where there was more camp in comics. So I understand that, but this movie doesn't really give us that camp, and I do like that a lot. I do like the more raw storytelling, and I just, to be honest, I just like Emma Stone does a great job as Gwen Stacy. Andrew Garfield, regardless of the fact that he doesn't look nerdy, he's just kind of like this, the skater kid that doesn't really
average kid,
just average kid that's just not in any major social scene. Which I'm like, that's fine. That's a good take.
Yeah, that's still
Peter.
relatable.
Yeah. So like, I don't need the fact that he needs to be nerdy. He still likes photography. They did. One of the favorite things is he's a tinker. He likes to make things.
Yeah.
We didn't get that with the first Spider-Man series, but we get that in this one. And I really like that, him making his own web shooters. It felt more like Spider-Man. It's just, I don't know, like this movie is, I can go on and on. Like, I really do enjoy this movie. Yes, I'll pick out the flaws that I have with it while we go through it. But overall, I think it's a great film. And at the time, it was said to be the second best Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
Now, that is mainly judging based off like box office numbers and stuff like that. And because, the third Spider-Man film, even though it wasn't good, it did phenomenal in box office. But that's because Spider-Man 2 was so freaking amazing.
I mean, when you're just judging off like box office data or whatever statistics, if you made a good enough movie to make a sequel, that prior movie, if it really hit off, people are just simply going to go to see the other one to see if it's that good.
Yes.
So your box office numbers might be much, much higher for that third movie, but that's simply because the second movie fueled the interest for enough people to show up for that third.
100%.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah, 100%.
That doesn't mean it was a much better movie than the priors.
No, exactly. 100%. They at that point in time, is people would go see movies because the success are doing so well, or based off the IP that's in the movie.
Yeah.
Now now we're in a time where there's so many different superhero movies. I mean, we already hitting superhero fatigue, and I know I have. And now, like,
even though that was a thing.
Well, it is, yeah. But it's just now it's like, like I'm not just going to go see every comic book movie that comes out now anymore. Like, I have to earn my money to go to the theater.
Yeah.
Well, that's true because there's been 2 comic book movies come out we haven't went to see in the theater.
2 in 4 years.
I'm just saying. Well, I've gotten to
seen.
the point. I've gotten to that point. I will say though,
He got to that point 6 months ago.
I will say, but I do want to talk about one film real quick. I will say Blue Beetle was amazing. I love Blue Beetle. You like Blue Beetle. When we left the theater, you was like, oh, you don't remember anything about me.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle, the guy from Cobra Kai. George Lopez.
Yeah, that was decent. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
George
movie.
Lopez. Oh, yeah. It
George
was
Lopez
the dad
is in it, yeah.
or the grandpa.
He's the uncle.
Uncle, whatever. Yeah, that one was funny. It had funny quirks about it.
Yeah, and it was good. And I like the like dark wave synth style, everything in neon and black. I like the different type of like Hispanic heritage stuff they threw in there.
How'd you feel about, was it Miss Marvel that we saw?
We didn't see the Miss Marvel movie.
Or what was the one we watched at home on Disney Plus?
We saw Birds of Prey in theaters.
No.
Oh.
I ain't that stupid about comics.
I'm not saying you're stupid.
No, it was the one with like the I believe she's Hispanic, or I'm entirely wrong, and excuse me if I am.
No, we watched that's the TV show. Yes, the Marvels.
Oh,
yes,
it
Miss Marvel.
it was the TV show.
You said movie, so I was thinking you were thinking of the Marvels. No, we didn't see that one.
Yeah, I was incorrect.
Yeah, you like that a lot.
The TV show, I did, but then some stuff was like, okay, we're a little much here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just going to ask what you thought about it.
I mean, it was okay. I didn't really, to be honest, like that is the era of like Marvel I don't really care to read just because it's just nothing in there excites me. And that's when I like, and that time frame when they're working on those storylines, I think is when like DC Comics are peaking and they have the best artists and the best writers working for them. So it's just like, I'd rather read that stuff than that.
I gotcha.
That's just my personal preference. And I also I follow writers. Like that's I'll find a writer I really, really enjoy and I'll read everything that they write, even though if it's like, even though it's over a character I don't care about. I'm like, well, I know you do good work. So I'm like, let's see what you have for this guy, you know? And that's the thing I'm really big about. I follow the writer, I'll read anything Tom King writes because he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Jeff Lemire makes amazing work. I mean, once I heard he did a Swamp Thing, and I was like, oh, I love Swamp Thing and I love Jeff Lemire. I'm obviously going to buy it. I don't even know anything about it. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Just because I know what he can do. Same thing like Mark Millar.
You like what you like.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I know what to expect. The kind of dial. It's like watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. You know what to expect. Even though the story changes every single time, but you know what you're getting into. Same thing goes with these writers. You know exactly what you're getting into when you pick up their book because you know how they write. Like, and I know exactly, the Batman's are over there, but I know exactly the way Tom King's going to write Batman when he writes them. I know, I know the fight scenes are going to be the exact same. I know the storyline's going to be a certain way. And I'm there for it. And then I know, if he does a crime drama book, it's going to be very similar because I believe he worked on Rorschach and stuff like that. And then, anyway, I'm getting off topic, which is, it's like a superpower for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's get into. And we don't have a lot of backstory I want to talk about the movie because I mean there's tons of backstories and ins and outs about Sony and all the clusterfucks that happened with making the film. So I mean I don't really want to spend time about the negative stuff. I just want to talk about the positive things that I enjoy about it and so forth. As a lot of people know, like there was going to be a Spider-Man 4 that we didn't get. That some people on the internet believe that one day we will get it. I highly doubt it. It's just, I just don't think it's going to happen.
The internet has big dreams.
It does. And that's the thing is I got too worked up invested in superhero movies to just get my feelings hurt. So I'm like, I've just stepped away from all these like deep dives.
I've never been invested so much in entertainment that it hurts my feelings.
Oh, what are you talking about? That used to be a daily.
I mean, I do know that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Snyder Cut drama after the Justice League came out because I was messed up. I was messed up. I mean, that ruined, like, That
I'm just like,
months,
la-di-da-da-da.
months of my life. I was just very
Moving
upset.
on.
Well, I waited for something like that for years, and
Yeah.
I finally got it, and it's just like. That's like when The Flash came out. We saw The Flash, and it was a good movie, but I couldn't enjoy it because there's nothing from it.
Yeah, I will say I also am the type of person, I'm a big TV show person, as we've already talked about.
Yeah.
But I am the type of person, if I really like a TV show, I won't watch the last episode because I just don't want it to end.
No,
So before I watch the last episode, I will rewatch all however many seasons there are.
Oh, no, I
and
get that.
still beat around that last episode and sometimes never watch it.
No,
I just don't want to know the end. I don't want it to be the end.
I've done that. Like I've done that with video games. I gotten so close to beating the game, and I was just like, I don't want to see the story. The storyline's too good. I don't want to see it.
Fuck the storyline. I want to win.
But so basically, when Spider-Man 4 was dead in the water, that's when they released that this movie was going to be coming out. And originally, David Fincher was ideal for creating the movie, directing the movie. Well, that was rumor. I don't know if there's any real truth to that. He was actually rumored to direct the original Spider-Man movie, and there was said that he passed on it, and that's how Sam Raimi got it. I don't know. You can do a deep dive and find out exactly what's truth in that, but it was cool though because in 2010, David Fincher worked with Andrew Garfield on The Social Network, which is a great film. And David Fincher, he's the guy like did Fight Club.
Oh, wasn't
and
The Social Network about like the Facebook stuff or whatever? Yeah. Did we watch that? No.
We've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was almost a Avengers crossover in the film, apparently, but the idea was pretty much scrapped once they started filming it. One of the famous storylines from the making of the film is there was a Donald Glover campaign to have him become Spider-Man, and it was a whole big ordeal. When he was on Community, there was like an episode where he wore Spider-Man pajamas, and people were like, "He's the new Spider-Man." See, he wore pajamas in the Community. He's the new Spider-Man, and then that's crazy because that whole campaign and that internet gossip actually gave the idea for Brian Michael Bendis to create Miles Morales, which was a Latino Hispanic, and I believe has half black Spider-Man, and that's what kind of sparked the urge, and he kind of used some of like his characteristics when he went to create the character.
Gotcha.
And another thing I brought this out of my video game collection, but we got the Spider-Man Amazing Spider-Man video game on PS3, and it is actually a really freaking awesome video game. Like it was at the time one of the best Spider-Man games. Now we've also got the PlayStation Spider-Man games that are phenomenal, 1 and 2. But before 1 and 2, we got the Amazing Spider-Man, and this game is amazing. It is so.
Amazing.
What's the word? What do you say there? No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's actually really cool and really fun. And I love playing that game. And it was probably like at the time, like PS3 graphics. I mean, it was the best looking in crisp we were ever going to see Spider-Man for like 2012.
My favorite video game has nothing to do with this.
But you're going to tell us what it is.
It's the underground street racing where the intro song is Riders of the Storm.
Yeah, it's the Need for Speed.
Love it. Yeah.
Was it Need for Speed?
I don't know.
2? I think it's Need for Speed 2.
I don't know which one, but I love playing it.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't have a lot of stuff. Like I said, I didn't really feel like going into much of the drama. I just wanted to talk about like the cool things about the movie, and I think the things. What
I said, I like that song too.
Back to the game. I'm pretty sure it's Need for Speed Underground 2. I think that's what
most likely. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's the one it is.
I was good at it.
There for a while, so we used to play the Switch a lot together, and we were playing Super Smash Brothers, and I mean we were playing. I mean that was the thing. We would come home from work after the gym, and then we just play the Switch for like an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah, but I get really competitive.
Well, but the thing is so we're playing Super Smash Brothers, and I'm just like, well, Becca's like doing some other stuff. I'm like training and stuff like that. I go in the training room and I start to like learn, like look up the moves and like, okay, because I'm not really good at video games, and I do like the Super Smash Brothers. But I was trying to like, I got Ryu or whatever. I'm like, okay, how do you do?
We were like legit about this, but
I was. I was. And then one day we're playing, and I just look at Becca's controller. And I'm like, are you just button mashing? She's like, yeah. I'm like, you've been button mashing for like 2 months?
Hey, I was beating you, so.
Not all the time, but the times that she won, I would be upset. I'm like, and now it makes me more upset because she just button mashed to beat me. And that's the thing is like, Super Smash Brothers is not really a game like you can button mash
Hell
at.
yeah, you can. And I won a good bit of times doing it. I never really know what I'm doing with anything.
Well, we did.
And you just make it happen.
We did Super Mario Deluxe too. We played that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny because like, so I would always be Mario, she would be Luigi, and when you die, you come back in a bubble and you have to pop the other person.
Oh yeah, I'm horrible at that game.
And yeah, she is. And the thing, and so it's funny because we would constantly play, and I kept on hearing, "I'm back."
Yeah, because I would just continue to die.
Yeah, because that's Luigi. That's what Luigi says when he comes back. Is "I'm back." So I just recorded it in GarageBand and made my ringtone. So when she calls me, it just goes, "I'm back."
Yeah, I don't know why I just suck so bad at that.
Well, I mean, it is a difficult game. You really have to like you have to be a little bit more patient with a Mario game. You have to do the jump at the right time, and the time things. You're just like, nah, fuck it.
No, I just press buttons until I win.
See, that's not, you can't do that with Mario.
And the other Mario, you can.
No, you can't.
Hey, I won. So, several times.
Okay.
You mash the buttons. You mash the buttons to make you go forward. And sometimes you mix in the button that makes you jump or launch things out. And there you go. You hold your little tchotchkes or whatever until the end, and then right when you're about to like almost win or beat the other person out, throw them. Throw that banana. Throw that star. Electrocute everybody.
Oh, you're talking about now. You're talking about Super Smash Brothers, not Mario.
Oh yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's how you win. Save them all, and then just dive bomb everyone in the last lap. And dodge everything. Oh, it was, yeah. There is some tricks. We used to do Mario Kart too, and there are some tricks with Mario Kart. Like I'm good at Mario Kart.
Well,
and I don't just button smash. It's only 2 buttons.
But there is some tricks with Mario Kart. There's certain things like, like getting a mushroom and just holding on to it for the last lap and using it at the last minute. Yeah.
It's technique.
Yeah.
Technique. Okay, anyways. So now we're going to do the Becca breakdown. We're going to revive that because I've been outnumbered and people really seem to enjoy that.
What people tell you at work?
Yeah. and Julie said it was a good idea. A few people have said it's a good idea. What is it called where the 2 letters are back to back? Like Becca breakdown, the first letters.
I don't know.
There's a word for it in like English grammar. Anyways, what is it? That's going to drive me nuts. We'll put it in here.
Right here.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. As soon as we look it up, I'll be like, damn it, I knew it. Anyways, the best Spider-Man yet from Newsweek. Teenage social outcast Peter Andrew Garfield spends his days trying to unravel the mystery of his own past and win the heart of his high school crush, Gwen Stacy. Emma Stone. A mysterious briefcase belonging to his father, who abandoned him when he was a child, leads Peter to his father's former partner, Dr. Connors. The discovery of his father's secret will ultimately shape his destiny of becoming Spider-Man and bring him face to face with Connors' villainous alter ego, the Lizard. And then the Blu-ray has like a bunch of exclusives. But yeah, so I'll kick us off with the opening scene, which I thought was like really cool. So I guess he's playing hide and go seek on his staircase, but it's this like pretty like wooden type house interior to the house.
Yeah, it's those really nice like fancy New York townhouses.
Yeah. So he's playing a game on his steps, then he goes into his father's office. Well, he goes down towards his father's office and hears this like almost like train sound, like similar to what you would hear when like I think it's a tornado coming or something like that. They say it sounds like the rumble of a train.
Well, because I think they're close to the subway.
Yeah,
that's what you're hearing.
Yeah, so you hear that, and he ends up going into his father's office, which you can tell, his father definitely does work in his office. There's a bunch of stuff in there, like written out stuff. He's got that chalkboard in there.
Yeah,
and then something's obviously coming because it's very ominous. And then the wind starts busting through. What is happening in this?
Someone's broken in. That's what the happen is. That's why it's all the window's been broken into and all this shit's thrown around it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why you're hearing everything because the glass is broken. The sound's coming in.
I see. I didn't pick up on any of that. But yeah, so then you get his mother comes and picks him up because obviously like something horrendous has happened. And then his father's hurry up erasing all the stuff he drew on the chalkboard, including like outlines of a spider. And as the camera pans over, you see like the little glass, almost like petri dish enclosure with the spider in it. And then they take off to Aunt May and Uncle Ben's house.
Yeah, and I like this scene. Like it's a little bit different. So like in the first franchise, we did not actually get to see his parents. With this one, we actually do get to see his parents. I do think that Martin Sheen and Sally Fields knock it out of the park as far as Uncle Ben and Aunt May. I think they do a great job. Yeah, I love Martin Sheen.
Aunt May's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And then, I mean, and Sally Fields is a national treasure. I mean, she's, Sally Fields used to be so beautiful, so beautiful. And I like that Aunt May. I think she does a great job as Aunt May. And we just get this moment of like, you know, it's just a sad, sticky moment where like his parents are leaving, and you know she even like the mom even sat there. He's like, you know, he likes a nightlight at night and stuff like that. And it's like the dad, she's like, we gotta go. Yeah,
it's like this tragic departure. Yeah. It's very like sad and everything.
It's very cutthroat.
Yeah,
very cutthroat.
But also like you can feel the compassion from Uncle Ben and Aunt May. Because they're being like so kind to him, and Aunt May holds him like really, really close when they leave and stuff like that. So they definitely do a very good job at getting that emotion out, you know, to the viewer.
And the idea is that they're coming back. You know, eventually they would come back when it's safe, and they just never come back.
Well, unfortunately, you find out why.
And then it moves forward to present time. We get a little look of like Peter and his school, and kind of like I said, he's not really a nerdy kid. He's just kind of like he's just not a popular kid. Yeah, you know, he's a skater. You can kind of tell like he's a little smart, but he doesn't look super smart. You know what I mean? A lot of people say like they make the joke we're saying like this Spider-Man's just too handsome. You know, he doesn't play the Peter Parker type. And I don't mind that because it is very different than what we already had. Yeah. I don't need a copy and paste of what I've already had. I do think Tobey Maguire did a great job at pulling off Spider-Man, at that like nerdy looking Spider-Man. When I was little, I remember me and my buddy Jim, shout out to Jim. He's probably not watching this because I don't even think he knows I have a podcast. But anyway, me and Jim, I remember we're sitting there watching HBO, and they do the little, news, whatever the little news entertainment section they used to have on, look for 30 minutes on HBO. And they were talking about the new Spider-Man being released. And I remember telling Jim, I'm like, you know who should play Spider-Man? That kid from Pleasantville. He looks a lot like Peter Parker. And literally like soon later, they announced Tobey Maguire, which is the person I was talking about, is playing Peter Parker. We're like, oh shit, that's perfect.
I gotta say they were listening to you.
Exactly. You know what I mean? When I was little, I used to have fantasies about certain things.
I mean, that's normal.
But so like I was really into wrestling, and for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, I'd be watching wrestling, and I would think that a Mankind's bus or whatever that takes him to show would show up at our doorstep, be like, all right, I have a hard time getting to Nashville. So I used to go periodically.
You're like, I used to wait at the front door.
I did.
Oh,
I don't know. Kids think the dumbest things.
Oh, I mean, you're so innocent. You just think like outworldly things or beyond worldly things are going to happen.
I'm not going to be able to tell them how to get to Nashville. I'm 8 years old. But
you also would probably be starstruck and say nothing.
I know. So. I don't know. I met Jerry the King Lawyer when I was like 9. He came to our local mall and did a signing. So that was really cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
But nope, you never got to.
I have not got to meet him fully yet. One day I will get to meet him, and that will be the glorious day.
When you tell him how to get to Nashville.
You know what? If I ever do get to meet him, I would like to tell him that story, but that would seem like I'm crazy, so I probably won't tell him that story.
I mean, that's sweet. You're not saying that you feel like that as an adult. Yeah. That's weird.
But anyway,
you took the time to talk to the guy from The Crow. and tell him
James O'Barr. Yeah.
Tell him about your trips to Hot Topic.
Yeah. He loved it.
I could have just sunk into the background.
he was all like, he was smiling from ear to ear. He loved it. It was very funny.
Anyways.
Yeah. So, okay. So we get back to modern time and we see Peter. And obviously, every time you see Peter Parker, you're going to have a Flash.
Yeah.
And Flash is picking on a kid outside. And Peter, being the stand-up guy he's,
like he definitely has a moral compass. Like it seems like he was raised well by his parents and Uncle Ben and Aunt May.
100%. And then we get this little, obviously a fight ensues.
But before that, he's eyeing up Gwen Stacy on his way out of the building.
Yeah, but then this is when Gwen Stacy comes in and kind of like deters the fight by talking about him failing and being a
for Flash.
But the next scene is what I really like. Once they get back to the classroom, and it's funny because they're like, she's talking to him. He's like, that was very brave what you did. Stupid, but brave.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What's your name?" She goes, "You should go to the nurse. You might have a concussion." And he's like, "Okay, I'll probably do that later." And he goes, "What's your name?" He's like, "You don't know my name?" He goes, "No, I know your name. Do you know your name?"
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah, it's a cute little like flirtatious scene.
Emma Stone knocks it out of the fucking park.
Yeah. She has a couple doppelgangers right now, but yeah, she's great.
She's great. Great. But yeah, so then we get back at Peter's house, if you want to take this one.
Yeah, so after Peter gets back from school, he is helping Uncle Ben because there was a flood in the basement. So their idea is like, let's get the valuable things like up. And he's more than willing to help. So he goes down in the basement, and while gathering some stuff to move upstairs, he finds a briefcase, which is his dad's briefcase. And he brings it up and asks Uncle Ben and Aunt May, whose is it? They say it's his dad's, but that they were told to hold on to it until Peter got older.
Well, they were saying to hold on to it until he got back, but he never came back. And they were very hesitant on if you could tell.
You could tell like they were kind of like a little iffy about him taking it and going through it, but they kind of also didn't really want to say anything because it's the last thing he has of his dad. So like,
yeah, exactly.
Let him be at that point.
He starts going through it, and you can tell like Peter's just like
he puts his dad's glasses.
Well, he's all like it's almost like he's so nervous just to go through it because he's like what I don't because he
they left so abruptly, so he
has nothing of his dad.
Yeah, nothing. And it's just this giant mystery of where did they go, why did they go, and why do they never come back?
Yeah.
So he puts his dad's glasses on. He takes his contacts out. You get this scene where he puts the glasses on and he's going through his dad's stuff and he sees all these equations and all this like written kind of scientific work.
Yeah, and then he asks them about the picture. Who's this? And they're like, I don't know. And then Uncle Ben, after of course
reluctantly,
he comes back. He's like, I should be honest with you. It's a friend of your dad's.
Partner,
What's called is Dr. Connors. He was very close to your dad. When your dad vanished, we never heard from him again.
Yeah.
So he had some resentment. Like, no. That guy was so important. He never even checked on you. Peter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was a big deal in your dad's life. Your life too. They were, So that was a big thing for him. And then he goes in searching out.
Yeah. He essentially tracks Dr. Connors down.
And here's the thing. Okay.
Based off the name tag. His dad's work name tag was in the bag.
Well, yeah, Oscorp and all that stuff. Yeah. So, it's not hard to find. He looks up Dr. Connors. He works at Oscorp, whatever.
You can find anything on the internet.
But here's the thing. Here's the one irk that I did have, and I just want to get it out of the way with Dr. Connors. This movie does a lot of things well. And
Wrong.
No, does a lot of things well, and it is 2 hours and I think 7 minutes long. So it is a long movie, and I understand you don't have times to add these scenes in, but some of the reason why this movie has flaws is the villain is Dr. Connors, and besides him going crazy from trying to understand to grow his arm back, we don't really care about him.
Yeah.
The Dr. Connors always had his family that you also really cared about because he was a father and stuff like that. So this was a monster that was also a parent and human. Yes, that made him more human.
Yeah.
In the comics, the show, we got that.
Yeah.
We don't get that in this movie, so it's harder to
Yeah,
care
I think
about him.
he's just like a bachelor when Peter goes to his
Well,
house.
you don't. Yeah, he's
You get that feel. I mean, no one's there.
no
but
one's
him.
there.
Yeah,
And that really hurts, I think, the film.
Mm.
And when the thing is,
I see where you're coming from.
what kills a movie, especially when you have a villain, if you don't have a villain that you care about, it's hard to care. It's hard to be more invested in the storyline to where you get from A to B to C.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up real quick, but that's what I really liked. I really like how they did it in Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
The guy that he fights, and you find the reason why he's fighting him, and you find that story itself, and the villain in Blue Beetle is a good story. And it's a good villain building story. And when the conclusion of the story comes to the end of it, it feels very rewarding. And I really liked that arc. And the thing is, we just don't have a good story arc for the Lizard in this film. And that's one thing that's weighing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he searches out, goes to Oscorp, tries to meet up with them while they're having a student day where some interns are showing up.
And he runs into
Other own,
Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy. And he doesn't really understand like how to, like, he's going to like kind of lie to her, say like he works there. He's like, I was going to say I work here, but you work here. So then you know that I don't work here.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
It reminds me of you.
Their banter is very, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, if you know me, like I like those awkward moments. I just say them out loud. I feel like it makes it less awkward.
Is that your
Yeah,
foot?
that's my foot. Sorry, I for the audio listeners, y'all can't see either because the foot's under the table.
Yeah, we ain't getting that kind of money. We ain't getting no money. Not at all.
All right, back to the movie.
Anyways,
the
the banter back and forth is very similar to Logan in those awkward moments where he just thinks out loud. But Peter gets the opportunity. All the interns or visitors, volunteers, get to meet Dr. Connors because he's very big. He is pretty much the face and name of Oscorp at this point in time.
He's working on cross-species genetics.
Yes.
That is the thing that him
To help
and Peter's dad were working on.
Yeah, to help rejuvenate human extremities.
Extremities, brain cells, so forth.
Yeah.
You name it, they can
Skin
find.
cells, brain cells, so on and so forth.
Yeah, they can find something to rejuvenate.
Yeah, so Dr. Connors comes through and meets all the observers, including Peter. So Peter gets a chance to meet Dr. Connors, but doesn't say anything. He doesn't say, I'm Peter Parker or anything
he doesn't
like
do any
that.
of that.
However, he ends up in one of the back lab rooms, sneaking around essentially what he shouldn't be doing. And the most like cringiest scene happens, which is all these
the
little
spiders?
blue
Oh my God.
spiders are just covering him, and he's like panicking or trying to figure it out. And how does Spider-Man become Spider-Man? He gets bit by a spider. So one of his little 8-legged friends follows him home.
When he comes out of the room, this is when Gwen Stacy sees him, and she's like, "Listen here, you got to go.
Yeah, you just get out of here."
Yeah,
and she doesn't really ask any other questions. She just gives him the boot. However, he had already been bitten at this point, I believe.
Yeah, he had already been bitten at this point. Yeah.
So he goes home and he's kind of like frantic. He like looks really sick.
Well, before this, we get the funny subway scene where he's like slowly going through the transitioning and
his hands are sticking to stuff, and then he accidentally rips this girl's shirt off, who's also like ripped. And then he's like, the guys that are with the girls try to fight him, and his hand gets stuck.
This scene's just pretty cool. I like it. He breaks his skateboard. They're fighting. He ends up breaking the pole on the subway.
And like all of it's just unintentional.
It's all accident, spider reflexes, basically. Yeah.
And I mean, he does eventually try to defend himself, but the original things were accidents.
Yeah, 100%.
Because he didn't know what's happening, and he's also starting to panic. So now this puts him in like a huge like anxiety attack / spiral, and he's like profusely sweating, is really pale. Like things are just going like all wrong.
Yeah.
He gets home and his Spidey senses are all tingling. And he dives into Aunt May's meatloaf, which is Logan's favorite scene.
That scene, it's so funny where it's
Logan makes real good meatloaf. Chef's kiss, by the way.
But this scene's really funny because he sat there and he's like, this meatloaf, It's the best meatloaf. And then Uncle Ben's like, yeah, something's wrong with him. No one likes your meatloaf.
May, yeah.
And she hits him after he goes upstairs because he catches a fly, does all this weird, funny stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes upstairs and then she hits him and is like, I've been making that meatloaf for 30 years. You never told me you didn't like it. I would be making it for 30 years.
Yeah. And at this point, eventually goes to bed.
Yeah, he passes out. We get the next day. The next morning, basically, he wakes up. He goes in the bathroom, ends up squirting toothpaste all over the mirror.
Oh, and is this where he finds the string on like the back of his neck? That freaks me out too. The web. Or was that the day before he goes to bed?
I think that was the day before because he finds the spider dead.
Yeah, and then you get the little sore on the back of his neck and he yanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so then he's sitting there, basically breaks the sink and ends up making his way
and he goes to the doorknob. He's like, reminds me of SpongeBob when Squidward's trying to take a bite of the Krabby Patty. And he's like, he extends his front teeth out and bites it.
But yeah, so that happens, and then we're getting to his bed basically, and he's sitting there, and he's like, you can just tell like his senses are on like full
high
blown high
yeah.
alert. You know, like he's basically just reacclimating his new enhanced senses from being bit by the spider.
But what better way to exercise them by taunting the bully of the school, Flash, because he's got to go to school. So he goes to school.
Well, before he goes to school, he makes his visit to Dr. Connors. He goes to Dr. Connors' house. This is when he goes. He's like, he goes to Dr. Connors' house.
See, but not much happened there. I mean, Dr. Connors like acknowledges him, but just kind of just like sits there while Peter just talks.
Well, Peter talks because he brings up the equation. That is the formulatic equation or whatever it's called that his dad and him were researching.
Working on,
and so forth. And he is able to,
solve the equation.
With his new abilities, I don't know if that enhances intelligence or whatever, if it were supposed to imply that, but he's able to kind of crack the problem that the equation was previously having that only apparently his dad knew how to do.
Yeah, and then also to rewind, at this point, he found in that briefcase what happened to his parents. Wasn't the flyer... No, he starts Googling it.
Yeah, he starts looking that up on, Bing, because it's a Sony movie.
Yeah. But anyway, so he talks to Dr. Connors, and Dr. Connors essentially explains, he wanted the opportunity to grow his extremity back. He's missing half of his arm. And this is what him and Peter's dad have been working on, but it was kind of open-ended. And then Peter, asks for a pen and paper and pretty much finalizes the equation that Peter's dad had been working on that Peter found in the briefcase.
Yeah, he invites him over to the school and he's like, would you like to, come to the school and, work with me? And he's, yeah, I like that very much. So then we get back to school after this scene where they're getting ready for the prep rally, and basically Flash is being a dick. Just typical Flash.
Is this in any correlation to the Flash?
No.
Oh.
No, two different universes.
Oh, whatever.
But yeah.
Why would they do that then? That's stupid. Out of all the names they could think of, they picked that.
Because the Flash was way before Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know. So then why'd you name a kid in a Spider-Man movie Flash?
That doesn't mean the names are off limits. You only their own.
The Flash. You couldn't think of any other names.
They're not calling him the Flash.
They're
His
calling
name
him
is Flash. Yeah.
Who names their kid Flash? Sorry, I don't know. There's probably someone out there, but specifically in a movie for a different universe, out of all the names you could pick.
Okay.
Might as well name the next person in a Marvel thing Bruce Wayne.
Well, you can't do that.
Oh, you can't? You can do Flash?
But that's different. Moving on. So basically, Peter ends up taunting Flash because now he's got all this new, his new confidence or so forth, and he's finally going to get back at him. He doesn't physically hurt him, but he's just taunting him, trying to make him look stupid.
Also, Flash deserved it because he knocked over the paint jar when they were painting the, signs or whatever.
Also, Flash punched him in the face.
Yeah, that too.
So yeah, he ends up taunting him, and he ends up
flaunting
him. He flaunts all over him. Anyway, yeah, he ends up dunking on him basically and breaks the backboard, which gets Uncle Ben called to school.
Yeah.
And we have this moment where he's just sitting there. He's like, I bet it feels pretty good, right? Is that the same guy that you've humiliated? Is that the same guy hit you in the face? And he's like, yeah. He goes, and so is this? That's what this was about. It's about getting even, right? And he just basically teaches him left, like not everything is about getting even.
Yeah.
It's about being the bigger man and just knowing when.
To say when.
Yeah, exactly. And then we see in the distance, we get to look at Gwen Stacy, and she's kind of looking over there, and he's like, that's your girl from the computer. And then he goes and does the best like parent thing. It starts and just embarrass him in front of her.
Yeah.
He's like, he's got pictures of you on his computer. All right, I'm his parole officer. Like the most parent thing to say.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't leave. And he also reminds him like, hey, by the way, I had to change shifts at work. So you got to pick up Aunt May
from work. Yeah.
And this is a really cool scene where we get to see the little banter again between Gwen Stacy and Peter. And it's really cool because it's just kind of funny where he's just like, we could do whatever you want to do. And he doesn't even say anything. And she's just like, yeah. Which one? She goes, either or.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always thought that was cute. Anyway.
It is.
But yeah, so then we end up getting this cool little like montage skateboard scene.
Yeah.
It is a little cheesy, but I remember seeing it in the theater. I liked it.
You think the interactions between Gwen Stacy and Peter are like super sweet. Some of them get so cringy, in my opinion. They're a little hard to watch. They're good, but cringy.
I don't know. I don't know. I got a soft spot for it. I enjoy them. And then the skateboarding scene with him slinging with the chains. I don't mind that. I like it. I remember when it came out. I'm like, this was a superhero movie that was made by someone that definitely doesn't make superhero movies. And I mean, maybe Mark Webb did 500 Days of Summer and a shitload of music videos.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a music video director. I mean, pretty much almost all the My Chemical Romance music videos Mark Webb did.
Yeah.
500 Days of Summer, not a superhero movie, but a great movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
and
it's a good movie.
You can tell he's got that there's a little bit of like nerd in that movie.
Yeah.
And he does it very playfully and very well. And so
that's a movie we should review.
500 Days of Summer. Yeah. It's great. And he's going to respect the product, the IP. He's going to respect it. And that's what I felt like this movie was in good hands.
Yeah.
The things that he was doing was very well done. And he definitely he had an art vision in mind. And I really feel like he executed it very well. Mm-hmm. So basically, Peter tests out his powers and ends up, after that, goes to Dr. Connors back at Oscorp, and they're going to work on the formula.
Yeah.
They end up testing it on a little mice that only has one arm. And I think his name was Freddy or something like that. The one arm.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah.
Ends up working on it. He gets a phone call. It's Uncle Ben. Obviously,
leaving him out. He forgot Aunt May.
Well, he doesn't answer it. He's too worried on finishing the project. Yeah. And he ends up coming home, and Uncle Ben's outside, and he does the most iconic, like, oh, you're in trouble. And he walks up and he calls him, and his phone rings, and he goes, oh, don't take that. It's me. I just want to make sure it was working because I've been calling you.
Yeah.
It's like we were watching Cops one time. And a guy,
I love Cops.
Cops was like trying to we've been trying to call this lady so-and-so. She live here? No, she doesn't live here. He's like, okay, and you're not so-and-so? No, I'm not so-and-so. So the guy calls that person's cell phone, and like his hand's in his pocket, and she answers, and she's like, hold on a second, I got to take this. I got a phone call. Hello? And he goes, and he comes back and goes, well, you're so-and-so because I just called her number, and you have her phone in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Cops is a good show.
It is a good show. We should review episodes of Cops.
Yeah. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Anyway, so Uncle Ben reams him out for it. And this is really, really sad because they get into the fight, and then we all know what happens to Uncle Ben.
This is the scene I talked about on Silver Linings Playbook. Ugh. It is phenomenal. It is great. I love this the twist on
sad.
Great power comes great responsibility. It's great. And Andrew Garfield, his acting is so freaking good in this scene.
Yeah.
The way he's tearing up, that's that seems like real. That seems like real
Yeah.
tears. That's real sadness.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people made fun of like Tobey Maguire when he would do his sad face, and he just looked so freaking ugly. He had a very bad cry face. But like Andrew
feel
Garfield,
ya.
I mean, he's it's perfect. I don't know. It's I like this scene so much. Like I said, if you are avid listeners and you listen to the last episode, I talked about it because this is one of my favorite scenes of like film. I know, understand. Like, really, why Logan? I don't care. It is one of mine.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I like it. And so he storms off, slams the door. You know,
Yeah.
the whole, let's call it, you have you have the right to do right things if you have the ability to do so. It's not a choice. It's it's called
an obligation.
Yeah. It's about responsibility.
Yeah.
And he does the whole, all right, well, that's great and all, but where is he? Where's my dad at? Shouldn't he be telling me that?
Yeah.
Oh God, it's heartwarming. And then he leaves and slams the door, it breaks. So then Uncle Ben goes after him, and it's a different take on the guy robbing the wrestling ring. And you got basically we just got a guy who's robbing a debega. I forgot what they got. Bodega, and so forth. And obviously the clerk's being a dick to him and so forth. He throws him the chocolate milk and he takes off. And then obviously it comes right back to you have the obligation to do something that's right.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben hears he's done something wrong. This person who's running directly towards him. And he's like, well, I guess I'm going to be the only person to stop him because no one else is doing anything. Then he sees the gun. Oh, obviously this guy's not a good guy. He goes reach for the gun, gets shot.
Yeah.
And, that's Uncle Ben doing the right thing, ends up getting killed.
Yeah, costing him his life.
Exactly. When Peter had the ability to do the right thing, and he did.
Yeah.
And so that's the Peter Parker story in a nutshell.
Right in the gut.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But that makes it why it's such a good origin story.
Oh yeah.
So after a robbery scene, we get the whole, it's a big, long, we got the funeral of Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
Peter's not the same at school. Flash comes to talk to him, like, hey, are you okay, Peter? And he picks him up, throws him against the locker.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm sorry, man. You lost your uncle. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to apologize.
Yeah. Which is like, well, what do you expect? You're a dick any other time.
100%. Yeah.
So,
No. If I was in high school and someone who was fucking dick to me all the damn time,
trying to be nice to you,
trying to be nice
off.
to me, my uncle died. That was basically my father. No, fuck off.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. I don't want to talk to you. You've been nothing but a tyrant towards me. And no. So yeah, it's hard. It's a hard scene.
Oh yeah, it's very heavy.
Very heavy, but it's very well done. And even Gwen is trying to console him. He just doesn't want it. And
some people grieve that way.
And also, you get a thing is like Gwen is. I get where he's coming from, but Gwen's new. Gwen hasn't been there.
Yeah,
they're not. They don't have that established friendship prior to dating.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. She just started showing interest in him. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's yes, through puberty and desire and stuff like that, teenage angst, you can see confined within your fellow classmate that is a girl, and it might make you feel better, but then a lot of times it's like, you're fresh, you're new, you're not going to consult me the way an actual friend would.
Yeah, long-term friend or my family is going to. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and this movie does it well. Like, yes, he's not going to go directly into her arms. He's going to want to be away from her because there's still there.
Well, also, again, some people just grieve that way.
Yeah.
Some people just want to grieve alone, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's very well done.
But he still proceeds to date her, and then we pan around, and now he is at dinner at Gwen Stacy's house.
Before then, though, we do get the whole him becoming Spider-Man montage.
Oh yeah, I forgot you didn't say that.
Yeah, we get the whole going into basically him on a vendetta trying to find the guy who did this.
Yes,
and we see him develop. We get the idea of why he needs to wear a mask because he finds a guy who's beating up on a woman and so forth, and then they end up chasing him. He falls through a skyline into the wrestling ring, which is basically back to the old original comic.
Yeah,
and I saw your face. The guy's yelling, I saw your face. So now he's okay. Well, now I need to start wearing a mask, and he starts coming up with ideas of how to create a suit. The tinkering in him comes up with
you get
web
the
shooters.
montage of where he's piecing together who he is and creating his costume, his mask, his plans. He's creating who he is. He's creating Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it's great. And by the time we get to the end of the montage, after the web shooters work, and he takes him out for a test drive, and you get the epic scene of him on the skyline.
Yeah.
It was a great Spider-Man scene.
Yeah.
And then it gets cut. Then all of a sudden, Aunt May calls him. He's like, hold on. And he pulls it out of his backpack. He's like, hey, Amanda. All right. Eggs. Organic.
Yeah.
Got it. It's just, I don't know. That's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's a Spider-Man
teenage
scene.
superhero.
God, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how could you not like that? No offense, but it's great.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah. Preach it to the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get to the dinner scene that that we were talking about earlier. So they basically, when Stacy asks Peter out for dinner, and then you can take that one, where Peter gets to her house.
What about it?
You talk about it?
Well, yeah. I mean, he goes on a date to her house, and that's when he realizes that her dad is
a police captain.
Yeah, a police captain. He's kind of like, not a hard ass, but like...
He's pretty strict. And this is basically his idea. He didn't really think that there would be people out there that didn't want, keen on there being a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of took him back a little bit by finding out that some people don't like Spider-Man.
Yeah, and find him to pretty much just be causing trouble.
Being a nuisance, yeah.
Causing more chaos in the city. So that's obviously somewhat alarming because he really likes Gwen, but then her dad is very anti-Spider-Man and doesn't really seem like he's going to change his perspective.
Yeah, and he's trying to convince him, and it's just like...
It's just clashing.
Yeah,
it's
and
just
you've also...
uncomfortable.
Yeah, you've got this, he doesn't mean to disrespect him, but he's
just trying to point out the good that Spider-Man can do.
And then, but there's things that Spider-Man doesn't know that he's not informed about, which is reasons why Captain Stacy has these feelings against him, because there's things that he's acting out of pure. He's not being strategically. He's acting out of pure desire. Like a vendetta against these individuals instead of doing it strategically like the NYPD's been doing.
Yeah. So Officer Stacy just feels like Spider-Man just kind of like stepping on the police's toes.
Yeah, exactly.
He's making their job harder instead of being a true superhero, which would make it easier, essentially.
Yeah, and it's just basically they just think he's a vigilante more than anything than that. I think it's like a superhero. And we get the interruption basically where, he's distressed the dinner table too much, so he's asked to leave, and they go, and he talks to Gwen.
It's so awkward.
And this is when basically as he's leaving, he gets the call that, now at this point, Dr. Connors has taken upon himself to basically sample the formula on his body because Norman Osborn's right-hand man is going to start doing human trials on people that don't know they're going to be tested on.
Yeah.
And he can't let that happen. So he tests on himself and ends up being mutated and turning into the lizard. And at this point in time, he knows that the other, he knows that the other formula that was drafted, that was created is going on its way to those human trials.
Yeah.
So he feels upon himself, he needs to stop it. Him as the raging lizard takes off after Norman Osborn's right-hand man and tries to basically stop him.
Yeah.
I feel like he's probably trying to kill him.
Most likely. I mean, he is a giant mutant lizard, so I don't think he just wanted to talk to him.
They're not going to have
just
a serious conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then that's when we get the call that something's going on the fucking Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, so he's got to go.
Yeah, he's got to go.
After him and Gwen Stacy have a little makeout session.
Yeah. And this scene's great. This scene is fantastic. I love this scene. just the
grand bridge scene.
it's great, and it's awesome because we get like you get him being Spider-Man.
You get this first like action, like real
Yes.
action of Spider-Man going
Yes.
after essentially a villain, because that's what the Lizard is at
Yes.
this point.
Yes, at this point, it's not just
And he's
freaking
trying to
car
protect
thieves.
the people. Yeah, and he's trying to protect the people because the Lizard's just wreaking havoc on these cars in traffic.
There's more things at stake here than just some people in a back alley
Yeah.
or some people that are in a convenience store.
Yeah, he's no longer just doing community justice. Like something's actually going crazy wrong.
Yeah, this is actually the situation for his abilities.
Yes.
No one else better than him himself can take on this challenge.
Yeah.
And we get the great scene of, he's basically battling the Lizard a little bit, but then he's got to save the cars, and we get the awesome scene of him saving the little boy
Yeah,
from
in the car
burning
over the
SUV.
bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes off the bridge and he catches it, but then it starts catching on fire.
Yeah.
He gets the boy to crawl up out of the vehicle, and then you think he's going to lose it. Then he shoots his web, grabs him, and then he gives him back to his son. And this is the first moment that we get that he's Spider-Man. He gets up, and the guy's dad's like, thankfully, like, he goes, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Spider-Man."
Spider-Man.
It's great. I love it. I love it. I don't know, like, it's like almost like I get teary-eyed. I'm that man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just, I don't know. There's
It is
certain
a good
scenes.
scene.
Yeah. But yeah, so after this happens, we get another scene of obviously Captain Stacy is not Peter's favorite person.
Yeah.
Well, he's not a big fan of Peter.
Yeah.
And so Peter does what he thinks he should do, which he kind of feels like he should do.
Yeah. So
because
now
based off
Peter is on a path to try to just do the right thing.
and
in doing the
Captain
right-
Stacy told him to do
Yeah.
the proper way you would go about it.
Yeah. So then he goes to Captain Stacy to tell him what all is going on, and Captain Stacy pretty much just like isn't having it.
He doesn't believe it because
He thinks he's just trouble.
Yeah, he doesn't believe it, and he's just like, "You mean Mr. Connors, the one who wrote Stacy's Gwen's recommendation?"
Yeah, you mean
he's like,
tell
"Oh, and I
me-
read it, I cried. That
Yeah.
same Dr. Connors is turning into a giant dinosaur." He's like, "Giant lizard."
Yeah.
And he's like, he's mutated himself by using it, blah 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 blah, and so forth. And he's just like,
He's just not having it.
he's like, all right. And then he's like, basically gives him a smart ass response. He's like, "You need to get out of here, Peter."
Yeah.
And then he goes, basically he is a little intrigued, but he goes, "All right, so give me whatever you can on a Curtis Connors or whatever."
Yeah.
And so after this scene, basically we get a fight between the Lizard and Dr. Connors.
Yeah,
'cause
without anyone else involved.
he's
so
trying to
Peter's
find
in
him.
the sewer trying to find him and is trying to stop Dr. Connors or the Lizard at this time, from all that he's doing. He's trying to stop him and, just get him to stop wreaking havoc everywhere.
Yeah, and then we get a little kind of corny stuff like the lizard things going down the
Yeah.
spider web. I'm like, okay, what? Just because he's a giant lizard doesn't mean that all the lizards are just going to be drawn
Attached
to
to him, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, okay. I'm not going to complain too much on that scene, but I understand some of the cringiness that you were talking about earlier because this is kind of cringy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get to this scene and basically they have this awesome battle in the sewer. And it's really, 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 really cool. And basically he destroys his web shooters get destroyed. He gets sucked into the sewer drainage and just nearly gets
Which
out.
foul. Y'all are
Right.
fighting in poo water.
Poo water.
Yeah.
That doo-doo water. That butt water.
Yeah, yep. We're done now. I'm going to cut it off.
I get 3.
Yeah.
And then, so he ends up making it out. He gets very lucky. He gets very lucky this time. And,
They didn't drown in poo.
he makes his way to Gwen because at this point in time, he kind of like let her know. He does the web shooter thing. He lets her know that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm Spider-Man.
there's a funny like internet meme of like
We should record the movie in just silence and I'll voice over.
What you mean, like bad lip reading?
Yeah.
Those kind of videos.
Yeah.
They did those like with the Twilights.
Yes.
Pretty funny, yeah.
Oh, so good.
The best ones are the football games.
Yes.
Those are the best. I went to Toys R Us and I got 3 purple elephants.
Yeah.
He's like,
I love voiceovers.
And it's just like 3. I got 3.
Yeah.
It's,
so good.
but yeah, so like back to the movie. He gets back to Gwen's and obviously he's beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
And she, looks after him and so forth. Mind you, we fucking Andrew Garfield fucking got shredded for this goddamn movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you watch Social Network, which is 2 years prior to this movie. He was not on this level and fucking well done. Because I know it's
common
hard.
in these superhero
What's
movies.
hard? It's fucking like Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire did, he completely looked a completely different person.
I mean, you have actors that'll starve themselves for certain roles or get really large for certain roles.
Well, that was fucking with Chris Pratt. I remember I used to, watch he used to have a video series called What's My Snack? And then, like, knowing a little bit about, nutrition and shit like that for our personal lives and stuff. But, like, when he would, like, list all the food he ate in a day, I'm like, Chris, that's like 1,000 calories, man.
Yeah.
You're like 6 foot tall, 220 pounds, 215 pounds. You're only eating 1,000 calories, Chris?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. Because it was really like one of the, like, I remember watching that when he was eating, those series when he was doing one of the Jurassic Park movies. And I was like, holy shit, man, you're only eating 1,000 calories a day?
Actors will go to extremes if it gets them a role. I mean, you got to play the part. Unfortunately, not that I agree with it. But so Gwen Stacy, tries to nurse Spider-Man or Peter back to health. And you get another fight scene, this time at the school.
So this is the next day. We found out that Dr. Connors has found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man by finding his camera, which is a cool little scene. I like Peter Parker when he crushes the camera. I like the way the lizard looks. I know a lot of people are complaining about it, how he didn't have a long snout. I like the way the lizard looks. I have no complaints with the way the lizard looks.
Is he an alligator? I mean, some lizards do have small mouths.
But that's how the comic was drawn.
Oh, okay.
Long
I
snout.
get you. They're talking about the relation between the two.
Yeah, more like an alligator, but I don't care. I really like the way he looks in this movie. I think he looks awesome. I think the special effects are really cool looking too.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job on the scales and so forth. But yes, so he's going after Peter while he's at school.
Yeah.
And he basically just comes out of the toilet because he comes out of the sewer, destroys out of the toilet. And this scene is awesome. He's got a little bit more steps ahead of the lizard on this one. And basically this is when back in the day before, unfortunately, Stan Lee passed, it used to be always when Stan Lee going to show up in a Marvel movie, because he would always be in every single one. It was a big deal, and it was awesome. I miss it a lot. Now that he's no longer with us, but this scene is probably one of my favorites. When he's just the old man in the library listening to the records, and you just see the like swirling in the back room from Spider-Man and Lizard fighting. I loved it. He has no clue what's going on.
He's oblivious.
It's great. Basically, Spider-Man gets the best of him, and he retreats.
Yeah.
And
back into his poo home.
So he starts to basically up the dosage on his formula as far as Dr. Connors goes. And
because now he's just using it to keep him how he is, but also to get
longer,
bigger. And
for longer period of times.
Because it's not sustainable just with the one single injection.
Exactly. And he makes his way to Oscorp, because what he's going to do is like, listen, I'm just going to do, because now he's going mad. He's like, I'm just going to make this mass, this weapon they talked about earlier for chemical warfare.
Yeah, essentially an atomic bomb.
But for chemical warfare.
Yes.
And they basically created it, but deemed that in the wrong hands. It could be great in the right hands. And basically,
but incredibly dangerous if it got into the wrong hands.
Exactly. So they scrapped it, and it just sits in a vault, just collecting dust. And he's going to turn that into his own weapon to turn everybody into new mutant genetic species, which is just very X-Men related.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like X-Men.
I get that.
It's just like it. It's just like the first X-Men with Magneto. So not original idea there. I get it. I will give you that. Yes, not original idea. That's another complaint people had. But this leads us towards the end of the film where
the big fight.
Basically, so Peter understands that he needs to get to Dr. Connors because he's found out what his big
end goal is
because he's went to his poop home.
Yeah.
And watch his videotape. And he's called Gwen Stacy, like, listen here, Dr. Connors is on his way to Oscorp. You need to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'll get everyone out, but I need to save the formula that you've been working on, because he sends her the information on the antidote. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she's getting everybody out, but she's going to save the antidote for basically to give to Peter.
Yeah.
And we get,
which would reverse everything.
Exactly. Because basically he all has miniature grenades with the exact same shit in it.
Yeah.
And it ends up already infecting like the police and the SWAT that's already there. So those people still need the antidote regardless if he even makes the mass explosion. Max explosion.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets.
However, unfortunately, Peter is after the lizard and the cops are after Peter.
Yeah, they're after the wrong person here.
Yeah.
And it's a big ordeal because basically, they're preventing and slowing him down to getting to Dr. Connors. We get the great scene where they end up tasing him. He falls down. I don't know if you paid attention. Did you pay attention when he falls?
No.
Dude, his butt jiggles like for another 3 seconds after he hits the ground.
I
don't know if it's the stunt man, or if it's a fake.
Maybe thick.
I don't know. That is a thick, juicy butt for a tall man. For a tall, slender man, that's a thick butt.
We'll put it in here.
Oh, I'm going to put it in here. It's a nice butt.
We get it. Any more and it'll get weird.
But yeah, so he basically gets, tased and so forth. And before they can unmask him, he ends up disarming all the other officers.
Yeah.
And then he has a one-on-one with Captain Stacy. He's like, listen here, like, Captain Stacy finds, oh shit, it's Peter.
Yeah.
He's like, listen here, I'm the only person, Gwen's there. I'm the only person who can save her. I need to get there.
Yeah.
And he ends up letting him go.
Yeah.
Because he definitely thinks that Peter is a good person.
Yeah. He's starting to finally come around and catch on, like, he's putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
Now that he knows Spider-Man is also Peter Parker.
Yeah. And so we make our way.
Or he believes I don't think he knows for sure yet, but.
Yeah, no, he never thought it was. Yeah. This is when he's like, oh shit, it's Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he ends up making his way to Oscorp and ends up getting shot. And he, Spider-Man's not bulletproof. You know what I mean? He's very strong and durable, but he's not fucking bulletproof. Yeah. So he gets shot in the leg. And we get this amazing scene. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I get teary-eyed every time I watch it. I love this scene so much because I love when good things happen.
Oh, yeah.
I love, like, I'll be watching a TikTok and it's 7:53 a.m. and I haven't even started my day yet and I'm already crying because I found something that's awesome. So I'm like, I don't know. It's like, you can't do this to me. It's too early, TikTok. But I enjoy, those are the things I really enjoy in life is seeing good things happen.
Oh, yeah.
And it's nothing better because in Spider-Man 2, we get a little bit of this in Spider-Man 2 when they save Spider-Man, when he saves the people on the train, and then they kind of hold him back. Yeah. And they're like, holy shit, he's a kid, blah, blah, blah. Give him his mask. That's a great scene. Love that scene. This is our scene here, in my personal opinion. But we get the scene. So, like, he's trying to make his way to Oscorp. Very far distance. Yeah. Very far distance. And at this point, he doesn't have a lot of humongous skyscrapers to swing from. And he's got a fucking bullet hole in his leg. Okay. Yeah. So he makes his way up after almost falling down a building. He gets at the top of the building. And the dad from earlier is a crane operator in New York City. Yes. And he
gets all the cranes lined up perfectly.
Oh my God. I love this scene. It's so, he gets something, when you hear
Deep breath.
When you hear him talking,
your words are getting jumbled.
When you're talking, he yells, "Kowalski, you're getting your overtime," and he's like, "We need to turn all the boom arms for the inside of the city."
Yeah.
and you hear on the radio what's called we need a clear path for the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then they all come together, and he gets up and he sees it all come together, and it's just like it's just nothing but like obviously they're doing it for him. And
for some reason I can see like a little Logan sitting on top of like, you know how like staircases have the railing and then you have the little pole at the bottom with like the ball on top?
Yeah.
I can just see you sitting on top of that like Spider-Man, pretending all of these little things align for you, and you're about to fly.
Well, I was like 22 when this movie came out.
But either way, things like this is what makes me think your childhood was. Just Logan dressed as Spider-Man sitting on the mantle.
I used to dress up as Spider-Man all the time. Mind you, I didn't have a Spider-Man. I just had a red...
Mind you, I didn't have a Spider-Man outfit, okay?
I did. I had a red robe. So I put on the red robe, and then I would take the rope and wrap it around my hand, and I would wall it up in a ball, and then I'd go... And then it would unravel.
Yeah, I can just see you standing somewhere in your house just in the Spider-Man pose. Up somewhere.
But anyway, so...
It's okay. I put on my own concerts.
Yes.
Everyone got suckered into this.
Do you say you have videos of that?
Graham probably does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One
Never
day
again.
I'm going to find some. But yeah, so like I just like the scene, and then it's just great where it's and I didn't bring it up earlier, and I meant to bring it up, but James Horner's score. Okay, yes, the first series we got Danny Elfman, phenomenal, but I think this is better.
Yeah,
this score, the music in this movie, I think is better. The second one we got Hans Zimmer, which is great. But this one, like, I mean, you got the guy did Avatar. He did Troy.
I've never seen Avatar.
Titanic. I mean, Apollo 13. Beautiful, beautiful composer. And the music in this scene, the ha hoo ha hoo ha hoo. I can't sing worth shit, but you understand. If you watch this scene, when you go back, it's all over YouTube. But this scene is perfect. I mean, and I can go on hours about this one freaking scene in the movie.
Yeah. Anyway, so the fight scene on the roof.
All right, fast forward to the fight scene.
Where we were.
Yeah. So
he hops on the cranes and he gets all the way to Oscorp, and now we get this big final fight where and Gwen Stacy's getting rushed into the cop car because she was able to escape the building, but she tosses the antidote to her dad.
And you get the perfect is like, but Dad, you got to give this to Spider-Man. You got to. He goes, I get it. Your boyfriend wears many masks. As a man of many masks.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That.
So she tosses the antidote to her dad, and she's like, please just keep him safe, or whatever she says. Save Spider-Man. And she gets ushered into the cop car to be safe or whatever.
And that's another thing. So Dennis Leary, great job as Captain Spacey. I think he does a great job. And that's the thing is I remember he was on Conan, and he was talking how he signed on for a 3-movie deal. Mm-hmm. They brought him back in the second one, and he was going to be in the third one too, as almost like a ghost figure or whatever, talking to Peter, just like he did kind of like in the second one. And it's crazy because like the third one ended up getting canned, based out of the second one not performing well. But to be honest, the second one did perform well because fucking the studio execs got the sticking their people that don't make art for a living telling people how to make art, and it's just it never works. It never works. It's different when you've got Steven Spielberg coming in from the studio saying, I need you to do this. I need you to change this. That makes sense because he knows how to make art. You know what I mean? It's different when something like that happens. When he's heading over like a movie or something like that, you get that kind of exec coming in like say, no, this needs to change.
Yeah.
Because he has a vision. He knows where it needs to go. You got these people that just care about fucking money, and they think if they want to throw people in it, that's just going to make them money. And it doesn't work. Because it doesn't work for the comic book viewers, and as far as like average movie goers who understand the way films are made, it doesn't work that way either.
Yeah.
But I digress and get back to the movie. But yeah, we get this epic fight. The shootout between him and the lizard is great. The whole like nitrogen, him freezing and then growing back his limbs, and then unfortunately the lizard does end up killing Captain Stacy. And right at the end of the moment, right when you think the weapon's going to go off and turn everybody into lizard people or some mutant kind of people.
Yeah, Spider-Man's able to put the antidote into the thing or whatever, the launcher.
But yeah, and it's great. understand it's.
And then you also get like a nice little speech.
Yeah,
from Captain Stacy.
Yeah, it falls a little flat. I get it. Like, it's not the kind of epic battle that we were hoping to get. You can obviously tell Dr. Connors is mutating back. And he has, obviously he's more collective with his thoughts, so he's trying to save Peter. It's a good little scene. It's not Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock sitting there and being like, the only way to get rid of it, we got to drown it. And then he's like, no, I'll do it. We don't that scene.
There's no intensity like that. It's just fight intensity, just action intensity. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no suspense or anything. It's going to be a fight. Lizardman doesn't win. The lizard doesn't win. And, Spider-Man does. But unfortunately, at the cost of losing Gwen Stacy's dad. Unfortunately, and Gwen Stacy's dad makes Peter promise at least one thing, which is that he's just going to keep Gwen out of it. So after the fight is concluded and, Captain Stacy passes, you fast forward, and at this point, Peter's kind of like stayed to himself. And Aunt May. He's just stayed at home.
Well, because he was told to stay away.
Yeah, stay away. So that's what he's done.
He's doing it to a T, basically.
Yeah. That's the promise that he made to Captain Stacy. So Gwen comes by after her funeral, after, Peter never went, and just kind of explains to him how hurtful that was. Where has he been? And Peter just kind of says nothing. And then it clicks in Gwen's mind, he made you promise.
Yeah.
And then Peter just doesn't say anything. She takes it as a yes, and then the movie concludes essentially.
Well, yeah, but then we do get the scene with them back at school, and he's like, what's called
he breaks the promise.
He's late, and he's like, Parker, late again, I see, and he said that he goes, I promise won't happen again. And he's like, but promises can always be broken.
Yeah,
and he's something.
And Gwen's sitting in front of him and realizes what he's actually talking about.
Yeah, well, he goes, but those are the best to break or something like that. I don't know.
It's sweet, and then the movie's over.
Yeah.
That's the acting that I said was cheesy.
Yeah.
Some of like the flirtatious acting was a little cheesy.
All right, now that the movie has concluded, drum roll, what did you think about the movie?
I mean, it's good, but like I said, some of the acting was just cheesy. I mean, it's not like...
But you thought it was good?
Yeah, like when we decided to rewatch it, I wasn't like, oh, we got to rewatch it. I didn't mind. It's definitely rewatchable.
Yeah, I definitely think this movie...
I don't know enough about any of these universes to have true opinions about them, so...
I mean, to be honest, I don't really like... I like comics. I like comics. And to be honest, after a certain time when my favorite comic book characters started to be made into movies, I just got to the point where I was like, it doesn't need to be like the comic. It doesn't need to be, because I already read the comic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is that.
You don't need just carbon copies of things, because then it's not entertaining.
Well, even if you get a carbon copy, people are still going to fucking complain about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the world today.
And I mean, that's
entertainment business.
Yeah. So I have always just taken them for what they are. Say, like, for example, like, I don't really, like, the X-Men movies are pretty not far from the comics, but there's so many different X-Men storylines, and they keep on changing things up. Mm-hmm. When they make the movies, I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's their own storyline. I don't care.
Yeah.
I am not going to be, I'm going to be a little bit more lenient when it comes to movies like this, because, okay, well, this is the way you want to tell the story. Mm-hmm. Can you do things that I don't like? Yeah, but that's like any fucking movie. You know what I mean? So it doesn't mean I get upset because you're doing the character wrong. It's more of I get upset because, like, I just don't think
it's not what you thought it was going to be.
I don't think it's a good move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with change when it comes to these characters. You can't keep on telling the exact same storyline. You got to switch it up somehow. And everyone, like I said, these people, it's their art. Their the way they want to tell a story, and they have every right to tell their story that way. Yeah. So, I like it. I mean, obviously, as y'all can tell.
You're the one that picked it. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining us for episode 29. We'll be entering episode 30 in like 2 weeks if we can get our shit together and put it out. And yeah, so we have some good stuff in store for you guys. Some meet and greets that we're going to do and share about, which would be nice.
If you're new, thank you for joining us. And if you've seen us before, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, and as always, like, follow, subscribe, give us a rating, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.